Hi friends, I'm Betty Rage, your favorite nerdy goth mom, and this is Lashes and Lore, the show where I put on my makeup and talk about lore, storytime. And today we are writing into one of Daggerheart's most terrifying, epic campaign frames. Daggerheart's Colossus of the Drylands. Are you the hunter or are you hunted? Get ready for colossal carnage, because this campaign frame throws you into a prosperous region of gunslingers and outlaws that have fallen into terror as colossal creatures awaken beneath the earth. Inspired by the dusty, desperate landscapes of Red Dead Redemption and the overwhelming scale of Shadow of the Colossus. It's a campaign of desperate survival against giants, where the earth shakes with every single monstrous step. This is a world where the stakes are as enormous as the monsters in them. And every battle leaves indelible scars on the land and on your soul. Honestly, it's giving apocalyptic road trip, but with more potential for unexpected flattening. And if you're wondering what kind of darkly alluring secrets that I'll be slathering all over my face today while we discuss this gigantic nightmare of a campaign frame, the product details are down in the description below. Because even when you're facing a giant, the glam should never fade. Alright, so just as a little recap, if this is your first time joining in on a Daggerheart video, let's do a little reboot for you. What is Daggerheart? It's the highly anticipated new fantasy tabletop role-playing game from the Critical Role's own Darrington Press. Daggerheart is a heroic, narrative-focused experience that features combat as a prominent aspect of play. It's designed to tell heroic fantasy stories with a more modern approach to mechanics, focusing both on an epic battle and an emotional narrative of the characters who are fighting them. It was built to deliver rich, character-driven adventure with a very sharp focus on the emotional stakes and player choice. Unlike D&D, Daggerheart uses a 2d12 dice system where your rolls are not just determined by success or failure, but fear or hope, which can be fueling your ability, pushing characters towards dramatic moments. Basically, every single roll is a chance to either have a heroic montage or a full-on emotional breakdown. The reason we're here today is because a key part of Daggerheart is its campaign frames. You can think of these as meticulously crafted for like an entire campaign. They provide structured settings, tone inspiration, and suggested mechanics that help both the player and the game master. This allows you to create unique Daggerheart campaigns. Each one of the campaign frames offers a distinct world, a theme, and set of challenges. It is 100% designed for collaborative storytelling, which really lets your players lean into their characters, be it their triumphs, their vulnerabilities, and of course the inevitable trauma that comes along with it. So just think classic fantasy adventure, but with a deeper emotional punch, and a system designed for unforgettable stories. Right, so if you've been following along with the Daggerheart game and releases, you'd know that Daggerheart offers 6 main campaign frames. And I just got back from Gen Con, so they're literally doing everything with Daggerheart right now, so that's kind of awesome for them. Good on ya, Darrington Press and everyone who's working with them. But you know, I am nothing if not thorough, so I am continuing on to bring you the lore of each one of these campaign frames to video here on my channel. This is video 2 of 6, unless this is the last one you're watching in the series, and yep, there's really no order to go in. Just 6 campaign frames, 6 videos. Yep. Okay, so we'll be continuing to deep dive into all the lore of the Daggerheart campaign frames, exploring the structured settings, the tonal inspiration, and all the suggested mechanics that make each one of them really a unique descent into adventure. So my cute little glitter goblins out there, let's go ahead and dive right in to the Colossus of the Drylands. So this campaign frame is not just about big monsters. It's also about a prosperous region of gunslingers and outlaws, and they have fallen into terror as colossal creatures awaken beneath the earth. Think of it as a dusty, gritty frontier where they are blending the desperate survival and moral ambiguity of Red Dead Redemption with the awe-inspiring, overwhelming scale of Shadow of the Colossus. Its tone and feel are larger than life and terrifying. So basically, if your ex was a giant, apocalyptic god with a penchant for dramatic entrances, this would be their new neighborhood, and they are still mad for whatever reason. So at the heart of this colossal chaos is Kudamat, the first doom. He is an ancient and terrible forgotten god. Forgotten gods seem to always be some kind of narrative with some of these stories. It's kind of like if we would all just get together and make sure we don't forget anybody. If everybody has a buddy, all the gods need a buddy. And then we don't have these crazy psychos coming after us because we forgot about them once for 1,000 years. So anyway, back to Kudamat. He is struggling to break free of his confinement, which is, of course, deep beneath Godfell mountain. Of course, old prophecies say that he aims to sunder the world, his hated prison, and tear down the sky like fabric, ultimately bringing doom to this world. So I don't know, maybe he should be forgotten, whatever. But I mean, honestly, who hasn't felt that way on a Monday before, right? Like, especially before you had some coffee. So I get it, whatever. Sometimes we need to tear the world down, the sky down, like fabric. Anyways, so to trap Kudamat, the new gods, let's be real though, like the new gods, they are usurpers. Anyway, they overthrew him in like a violent battle. And it wasn't just like, shame on you and lock him up. No, they split part of his being into 9 pieces. Ew. And then tasked 9 mortals with hiding these soul shards. The amount of times I've said shards when it comes to TTRPG related things is a lot. I'm sure there are other synonyms we could use besides shards. But anyhow, 9 mortals take the 9 pieces of Kudamat and they take them to hide the pieces. But the problem with this is now Kudamat is awakening. And as he is finding and siphoning his power from these soul shards, he crafts a Colossus, one of his 9 children of the Godfell, to guard each shard. Not a bad security plan, though. I mean, let's be real. And these guys are hell-bent on protecting these shards. And they're only like the first of many titanic beasts poised to terrorize this land. So, get ready for some truly monstrous family drama that we love to talk about here. Let's talk about magic. Magic in this realm, Essentia, actually bleeds from the lasting wounds of these forgotten gods. Incidentally, becomes the source of all magic in the mortal realm. So the very source of magic is tied to these buried, tormented deities. And there's a mad scramble for any opportunity to harvest. Because in the eyes of those who are in charge, a land with the vein of Essentia is worth millions of the lives that are sacrificed in the mines that are built to dig up the crystals of Essentia. So then the numerous veins of Essentia that run from Godfell Mountain come from Kudamat's power, driving all the locals to follow them ever closer to the mountain, despite it being a desolate, dangerous place. Because, nothing says like good time investment like digging for magic crystals next to the tomb of imprisoned cosmic horror. Your campaigns would start in places like Willen's Gulch, a dusty town that's near Godfell Mountain, born from the Essentia rush roughly 40 years ago, which, is definitely giving gold rush vibes. This place literally belching factories that process magical batteries up the sides of Twin Turtles mesas. But what was once a routine of industry and exploitation has been shattered by these titans, forcing its citizens to raise scattered armies and then watch them die. This is a land where primordial gods seek vengeance, and every single step might just shake the foundations of your faith and property values. But like any good Western gold rush town, Essentia rush, if we're being correct, Willen's Gulch also has, even like crooked sheriffs that are paid to protect the mines and the manufacturing rather than uphold any kind of justice. And it's full of folks that are just either working for the mine or running money traps for new prospectors. So, kind of like paradise, if your idea of paradise includes dust, death, and dubious law enforcement. Some of you, that might be your thing, especially if all you're doing is playing Red Dead all the time. Now, my little shadow dwellers, a primordial god seeking vengeance sounds bad enough, right? But Kudamat, the first doom, isn't sending generic giants. No. His 9 children of Godfell are unique. They are terrifying manifestations of his will, each of them a scandal in monstrous form. And honestly, some are just rude. They are formed by elements of the soul shards surrounding. These colossi are as varied as they are destructive. Specifically, you might encounter Aandira, the one who devours. This one is a mix of humanoid and spider, scurrying across the Drylands on bent back limbs with a dozen mouths with broken teeth. Not really the best first impression, that one. You're not going to be thinking, ooh, is she single? No. Anyways, but there is some range here because you also have Mermat, the lover of hollow hearts. Anybody with the word love or lover in their title can't be too bad. Wrong. A giant humanoid cage. Yeah, that. Who places enemies inside themselves to be killed or eaten by the creatures that live within them. Real effed up stuff there. Okay, because apparently being crushed really just isn't enough. You need to be contained by your giant and then devoured by its internal roommates. So considerate of them. We also can't forget the steel nightmares. I have a hard time saying this one, don't really know how it's pronounced. We're going to say Daktadae, also known as the Cleaver, a massive steel rhinoceros that's been formed from a steam train with a cleaver emerging from its head instead of a horn. It's just so much, so very much, but also at the risk of sounding incredibly lame. It's very metal, and I'm not trying to make a pun because it's made of metal, but it's pretty metal. There's also a level of pervasive greed that fuels this apocalypse. And, as I said before, the folks over in Willen's Gulch, they have sheriffs, but they're really just paid to protect the manufacturing and the mines, rather than uphold the justice there. It's 100% a place where outlaw gangs seek fortunes stealing crystals, and others see Essentia operations as anathema. So what does it truly feel like to wander these dry lands, facing down forces of nature that move like mountains? This is where your Daggerheart characters don't just earn their scars. They earn enough monumental emotional scars to fill a trophy room and probably start a support group. Playing in Colossus of the Drylands means embracing a blend of frontier grit and impossible scale. Your missions often break down to hunts and interludes. During a hunt phase, you're out there riding onto dusty outposts, trying to gather information, saving innocent people from newly released aberrations, those smaller, terrible beasts that protect the shards. You're tracking down the Colossus and then battling them. The threat of the Colossus is always present, even from a distance. You will literally feel the ground shaking when your next big problem decides to take a stroll. You do get to navigate vast, sun-baked landscapes, confronting dwindling resources and the shattered remnants of civilization in a region that is terrorized by awakened colossal creatures. Water is more scarce than hope. Extreme heat and dust storms are a constant threat. And even the wildlife is tougher and more desperate. Every water hole that you stumble upon might actually be a gamble. Every canyon trap and every distant tremor is a sign of impending doom. Because apparently the apocalypse doesn't really care about your travel plans. No, really, it has rescheduled your emotional healing for after the world ends. The importance of your mount cannot be overstated here, because every rider in the Drylands knows that a good mount is often what's standing between them and certain doom. Whether you're on a trusty steed, a robotic mount, or even a giant jackalope, you're basically an ant with a very sharp dagger and a deeply questionable insurance policy. So, good luck. And then there is the hunt. Like the solitary, awe-inspiring quests of Shadow of Colossus, your primary targets are these immense, awakened beings. And this isn't about just clearing out a dusty dungeon. It's about methodical tracking across vast distances, understanding their immense patterns, exploiting colossal weaknesses, and then figuring out how to reach a creature who could flatten your entire party with like their pinky toe. The scale of the threat is immense. By design, it's made to make your characters feel tiny, desperate, and utterly vital in their impossible task. And as you can imagine, the challenges here aren't just about dealing damage. They're about survival against overwhelming odds. The moral ambiguity of what you're fighting, the environmental destruction left in the wake of these giants. Is this just a monster hunt, or are these creatures a tragic force of balance that you are disrupting, perhaps even hastening the land's demise? Your core themes will include breaking cycles, the burden of heroism, and navigating faith versus doubt. You'll have to make agonizing choices about whether to fight the mining moguls or side with a primordial god. And then when you finally get to like the interlude phase after a Colossus is slain, you might think it's time for a spa day, because I know I sure would. But, think again, because that's not how any of this works. You then have time to take on smaller, more personal tasks, like dealing with ruffians outside of the local saloon, investigating a derailed train, or figuring out what exactly devoured a farmer's entire cattle keep. Because even in the quiet moments, the Drylands find new ways to serve up fresh trauma every day. No rest for the weary or the glamorous. So no matter what your quests really bring you, the dust and the blood will cling to you, reminding you of the colossal price of heroism in a land where the earth itself is shaking. So get ready for some truly epic, terrifying encounters where the emotional damage is just as colossal as the monsters. So here's our final colossal look. Went with kind of a dark wave look today. Felt like it was fitting. It's kind of. Anyways, so there you have it, my little glitter goblins. Daggerheart's Colossus of the Drylands. Are you the hunter or the hunted? This campaign frame is really a thrilling journey into a prosperous region of gunslingers and outlaws who are just trying to navigate the terror of these awakened colossal creatures. A high-stakes adventure where the earth itself is just shaking with excitement. Before you go, I have a free Patreon, and I will put the link in the description. Free Patreon. You don't have to pay to be a part of it. It's just an easy way for me to make a community without having to control another Discord. And if this colossal descent into the campaign frames of Daggerheart has really piqued your interest, then I suggest you check out this other campaign frame that I did here. I'm Betty Rage, and this is Lashes and Lore, where the eyeliner is deep, the lore is deeper, and the mom hugs are always free. Be good to each other, love each other, make good choices, and as always, free mom hugs from me to you. I'll see you next time.